For 43 centuries, that stone lid stayed stubbornly shut. Imagine, down a 50-foot shaft, sealed away under a staggering 45 tons of limestone, lay a body. Not just any body, mind you, but one wrapped head to toe in beaten gold. And the craziest part? It wasn't a pharaoh, not even a prince, just a name, Hekashepes, scratched rather unceremoniously on the outside of the coffin. But that single, unassuming word, coupled with that dazzling burial, is forcing every textbook on ancient Egypt to add a brand new, glittering chapter. It's a discovery that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about who got the VIP treatment in the afterlife. Picture this. Archaeologists, covered in dust and sweat, were meticulously working the Giza al-Mudir section of Saqqara. This sandy suburb south of Cairo is an archaeological gold mine, a place that just keeps on giving up its ancient secrets. They were expecting another routine. Old Kingdom tomb, maybe a few painted walls, perhaps some scattered pottery shards, the usual suspects. You know, fascinating, but predictable. Instead, their picks hit something extraordinary. A burial shaft that plunged 15 meters straight down, ending in a sarcophagus so incredibly heavy, it took 3 grueling days just to rig the cranes to move it. Can you imagine the tension, the anticipation, when that massive lid finally creaked open on February 1st, 2023? The entire trench wasn't filled with dust or darkness. Oh no, it shimmered. A dull yet unmistakable yellow glow emanated from within. The mummy inside was coated in gold leaf, so complete, so utterly flawless, it looked like it had been dipped in liquid gold. The team's first thought, naturally, was, "Oh my God, we've just found a lost king." But then, they read the short, simple inscription, Hekashepes, overseer of the royal estate. No royal cartouche, no elaborate golden throne name, just a civil service title. A collective gasp, I'm told, echoed off the ancient mud brick walls. Everything Egyptologists thought they knew about who got the Midas treatment in ancient Egypt suddenly felt incredibly flimsy. This wasn't just a find, it was a revelation, challenging deeply held beliefs about social hierarchy and access to lavish burials in the Old Kingdom. It suggested that perhaps, just perhaps, the line between royalty and high-ranking officials was a little blurrier, or a lot more permeable than previously imagined. Now for us, gold is often about bling, right? A sign of wealth, status, maybe a little bit of showing off. But to the ancient Egyptians, it was so much more profound. Gold wasn't just a metal, it was the very biology of the gods. They believed it was the flesh of deities, especially the sun god Ra, the most powerful of them all. Think about Ra's morning rays, bright and unblemished. That's what gold embodied. It was the stuff that never tarnished, never corroded, and because of that, gold was eternal by definition. So, if you wrapped a corpse in it, you weren't just making them look pretty for the afterlife. You were offering the deceased the same unchanging perfection, the same divine essence. Pharaohs, of course, cashed in on this symbolism big time. Tutankhamun's famous coffin, for instance, weighs a staggering 110 kilograms of solid gold. Even lesser royalty might get a gilded face mask or thin foil on their fingers and toes. It was a clear marker of their divine connection and their journey to immortality. But full-body gold leaf, that was supposed to be the ultimate VIP-only perk, the ancient equivalent of having your own private jet times and times a personal runway. Until Hekashepes showed up, no scholar had a single documented case of a non-royal wrapped head to heels in this divine metal. It was an exclusive club, reserved for the truly divine. Now it seems that club isn't quite as exclusive as we once thought. Hekashepes burst that bubble, forcing us to re-evaluate what was truly possible for high-status individuals in the Old Kingdom. The name Hekashepes translates roughly to, "He who appears in glory." Quite a grand label, wouldn't you say, for what initially seemed like a mid-level bureaucrat. Titles recorded in nearby tombs list him as Inspector of the King's Estates, which essentially meant he was the royal auditor, checking crop yields and livestock counts for the crown. Important? Absolutely. The kingdom depended on accurate records and efficient management of resources. Glamorous? Hardly. You're probably picturing a royal accountant with sandals perpetually covered in desert dust, meticulously counting grain. His tomb sits right beside those of two higher-ranked buddies, Khnumjedef, a priest who served under Pharaoh Unas, the last king of the 5th dynasty, and could walk straight into the palace, and Mary, a keeper of royal secrets, basically a minister-level fixer or palace official. These were powerful, influential men. Both Khnumjedef and Mary built bigger, more elaborate chapels for themselves, decorated with scenes of daily life. Yet, neither of them received the full gold foil spa treatment that Hekashepes did. This is where the mystery deepens. Something or someone put Hekashepes in a special category, and status alone, at least as we traditionally understood it, can't fully explain it. Was it personal favor, exceptional service, an immense personal fortune? The questions linger, making Hekashepes far more intriguing than his official title suggests. The conservators at the Egyptian Museum lab approached Hekashepes with the utmost care, gently lifting flakes of gold no thicker than printer paper. Under the microscope, these tiny fragments told a fascinating story. They showed distinct burnish marks, evidence of a smooth stone tool used to meticulously beat the gold, rather than being hammered into sheets. This points to an incredibly refined, handcrafted process. Even more remarkably, tiny fibers of linen still clung to the underside of the gold, proving that the embalmers wrapped the body first, then applied the delicate gold foil directly onto the damp resin. This technique was incredibly clever. As the linen and resin dried, they would have shrunk slightly, tightening the gold into a seamless, second skin, perfectly conforming to the mummy's form. Radiocarbon dating on the linen places it squarely in 2330 BCE, right in the late 5th dynasty. This precision in dating helps us anchor Hekashepes within a specific historical period. And the gold purity? An astonishing 92%, identical to foil found in the solar temples of Usakaf and Nusair nearby. This isn't just any gold, it's top-tier, state-grade material. It tells us that whoever funded this burial had direct access to state workshops and, crucially, was not worried about cost. This wasn't a budget burial. It was an expenditure of significant resources, suggesting powerful patronage or immense personal wealth. It also hints at a level of metallurgical and embalming expertise that continues to impress and, in some ways, defy modern replication. 45 tons of limestone. Let that sink in for a moment. That's not just a deterrent for grave robbers, that's overkill. It speaks to an absolute determination to keep whatever was inside safe and undisturbed. The builders didn't stop there. They went a step further, pouring a mortar of clay, lime, and crushed straw between the lid and the base, essentially gluing the entire thing shut. This wasn't just a seal, it was an impenetrable barrier, a commitment to eternal rest. And it worked. That seal held for over 4 millennia, longer than some entire dynasties lasted. When the crane finally raised the 5-ton lid, after all that effort and anticipation, the air rushing into the chamber carried a faint, ethereal whiff. It was a mix of cedar oil and something sweet, possibly the lingering scent of last resort offerings of honey, intended to pacify the gods and ensure Hekashepes' peaceful transition. Inside, the body lay in a fetal curl, a standard position for Old Kingdom burials, reflecting a symbolic return to the womb. But every visible square centimeter of him glimmered with that unmistakable golden light. The shock factor doubled when you considered the tomb layout itself. It was modest, one small chamber, no elaborate antechambers, no treasure galore, just the man, the metal, and 4,000 years of silence. This stark contrast between the simple tomb and the opulent mummy only deepens the enigma of Hekashepes. Why such an extraordinary burial in such an otherwise understated setting? It pushes us to look beyond conventional explanations of wealth and status. This is where Hekashepes really starts to mess with our understanding of ancient Egyptian theology. Religious texts from the Old Kingdom, particularly the pyramid texts, are quite clear. Only the king, the pharaoh, unites with the sun god Ra after death. Everyone else, the common folk, could only hope for a lesser eternity, perhaps as an effective spirit. But here we have Hekashepes, a non-royal official, wrapped in gold, the literal flesh of Ra, the portable sunrise. It's like he bypassed the standard afterlife queue and went straight to the VIP lounge. Egyptologists are now grappling with a couple of compelling possibilities. Option A. Maybe social mobility was a lot looser than we previously thought. Perhaps exceptional commoners, through extraordinary service, wealth, or influence, could actually negotiate for divine perks that were traditionally reserved for royalty. It suggests a more dynamic and less rigid social structure than our textbooks often portray. Option B. Local priests, perhaps in Saqqara, interpreted the pyramid texts more liberally. Maybe they started offering gold packages to elite families who were willing and able to pay handsomely. This would mean that access to a divine afterlife could, to some extent, be bought or commissioned. Either way, Hekashepi's golden shroud indicates that the gate to godhood cracked open, allowing non-royals to step through, centuries before we assumed such a thing was possible. It forces a fundamental re-evaluation of the religious landscape of the Old Kingdom. Now, one mummy, no matter how shiny, doesn't usually topple an entire academic paradigm on its own. But context matters, and the context around Hekashepes is incredibly significant. In the same dig season, within a mere 100-meter radius, researchers uncovered 6 other sealed shafts. 2 of these held gilded masks. One contained a silver bracelet, and another revealed baboon-shaped amulets made of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver. Taken together, this pattern suggests a burgeoning burial boom among upper-middle officials, a kind of afterlife arms race, if you will. Everyone, it seems, was trying to ensure their best possible eternal existence. Hekashepes sits at the extreme end of this trend, the absolute pinnacle. He's the Tesla Model S in a parking lot full of well-maintained Toyotas. If further testing and future discoveries show more non-royals wearing full gold, the 5th dynasty could very well go down in history as the first middle-class bling boom, where the desire for a divine afterlife fueled an unprecedented display of funerary opulence among the elite. This isn't just about one man. It's about a potential shift in an entire societal understanding of death, divinity, and what money could buy, even in the afterlife. It paints a picture of a society perhaps more aspirational and competitive than we previously gave it credit for. Here's something truly mind-boggling. Modern jewelers, with all our advanced tools and techniques, can't replicate the thinness of Hekashepes' gold foil without it tearing. Conservators have tried, using the same alloy, carefully controlling humidity, even attempting to mimic the hand pressure. Yet, the ancient samples consistently beat them by 30% in terms of thinness. This isn't just good craftsmanship, it's a lost art. What does that mean? Either the embalmers used a now-lost animal hide sizing technique to prepare the surface, something that gave the gold an unprecedented adhesion and flexibility, or they had access to stone polishing instruments and methods we haven't yet identified or fully understood. The Egyptians were notoriously secretive about their trade secrets. No workshop manual detailing these precise techniques survives. It's one more powerful reminder that calling these ancient people primitive is a profound misjudgment. These were people who built the pyramids with copper chisels and still, in many ways, out-engineer us in specialized foil work. Their ingenuity and mastery of materials was simply phenomenal, leaving us scratching our heads and marveling at their sophisticated, yet seemingly simple technologies. It's a testament to the fact that innovation isn't exclusive to any single era. Despite all the incredible insights, Hekashepes is a silent witness, and he leaves us with a stack of tantalizing questions. Who paid for this extravagant burial? No estate records beyond the tomb itself mention Hekashepes. Was he beloved by a particularly generous prince or a wealthy nephew? Did a powerful creditors guild fund his lavish send-off, perhaps as a tribute or a statement? Or, and this is a more provocative thought, did Hekashepes himself stumble upon a hidden cache of temple gold? Did he perhaps siphon surplus grain, sell it in the fertile delta, and bankroll his own immortality? The possibilities are endless and, frankly, fascinating. Then there's the sealed sarcophagus. Most officials of the Old Kingdom wanted their descendants to pop in with fresh bread and beer on festival days, offering sustenance for their journey in the afterlife. Gluing the lid shut, as Hekashepes' sarcophagus was, completely cuts off that supply line. This implies either an extreme fear of grave robbery, a concern that perhaps his golden splendor would attract unwanted attention, or a profound belief that the gold itself, the divine metal, would feed him forever. It suggests a shift in funerary belief, or perhaps a unique circumstance that made traditional offerings impossible or unnecessary. The motivations behind such a permanent seal remain a captivating mystery, adding layers to Hekashepi's already enigmatic story. Dr. Zahi Hawass, the renowned Egyptologist who led the dig, didn't mince words. He called the discovery the most important discovery at Saqqara since the catacombs of the sacred bulls. That's high praise from someone who's seen it all. The Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, naturally, hopes the buzz generated by Hekashepis will lure visitors back after the pandemic slumps. Tourism is a vital part of Egypt's economy, and discoveries like this are pure gold for attracting international attention. Already, souvenir sellers near the iconic Step Pyramid report a noticeable spike in demand for gold-colored scarab pendants. It's a tangible sign of the excitement. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Antiquities is racing to finish an on-site lab, ensuring that precious artifacts can be conserved without ever having to leave the plateau, preserving their context and minimizing risk. If this momentum holds, Hekashepis might just become the poster child for Egypt's new push to brand Saqqara, not just as an ancient site, but as a vibrant, ongoing open-air museum, constantly revealing new secrets and challenging old assumptions. It's a dynamic interplay between ancient history and modern ambition. This is where things get really exciting. Ground-penetrating radar, that incredible technology that lets us peek beneath the sand, has revealed numerous blank spots under nearby areas, rectangular shapes too regular, too precise to be natural formations. These could be undiscovered tombs, waiting patiently for their moment in the Sunday. Excavators have already applied for permits to explore 2 of these intriguing anomalies this winter. Budget allowing, they plan to drop new shafts next season. The hope, the dream, is to find a whole street of gold-wrapped bureaucrats, each coffin time-stamped to a different reign. Imagine the data. It would allow archaeologists to map exactly how this extraordinary practice spread, or perhaps how it evolved. If they succeed, textbooks will need even more rewrites, charting a complex social and religious history that we're only just beginning to grasp. If not, Hekashepis will remain a spectacular outlier, a man who, against all odds, punched far above his afterlife weight class, forever a testament to the unexpected wonders that the sands of Egypt still hold. The desert, it seems, still has many stories left to tell. So, what does this glittering mummy teach us? It's a powerful reminder that history isn't carved in immutable stone. It's often wrapped in gold and sealed with clay, waiting for us to uncover it. One single discovery can peel back layers of assumption, revealing that ancient societies were far messier, more creative, and infinitely more inventive than we often give them credit for. Hekashepis reminds us that privilege and power were, even in the imposing shadow of the pyramids, negotiable concepts. They weren't always set in stone, even for eternity. And if a mid-level bean counter, an overseer of estates, could somehow buy or earn his way into an eternity typically reserved for gods and kings, maybe the rest of us can challenge some of our own deeply ingrained assumptions too. It's a lesson in humility for historians and a thrilling encouragement for anyone who believes that the past still holds incredible surprises. If you want to keep following the twists and turns at Saqqara, trust me, there are always more. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. There's more digging planned this year, and you won't want to miss what comes out of the sand next. Drop a comment below. Do you think we'll find another gold-wrapped official? Or was Hekashepis truly a one-hit wonder? And while you're at it, check out the playlist on my channel for more stories where ancient Egypt refuses to behave the way our textbooks say it should.